So, Kathy, summer's here, or at least officially in a week.
Oh, wow. It's not quite the same as when we were kids, but I still think of summer as so much fun.
I know. And going back and listening to some of our episodes from season 1 and 2 has been pretty fun.
This week, we're going all the way back to season one and only our second Quirks in Conversation, and it was with Traci Hall.
Yes, and Tracy's a friend of ours and she lives here in South Florida, and she was so nice to come over and while you were here too. So we sat around and did this really kind of new Corks and Conversation with Tracy and just had a lot of fun.
And we laughed a lot and we shared some wine. At that time, she had just started writing cozy mysteries with a contract with Kensington Publishing, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, very exciting. And so she has her latest book, Murder in a Scottish Garden, which is the second in this Scottish Shire mysteries, just came out. And I have both of them here so you can see what they look like, but really, really fun reads.
And she also has another series. It's called the Salem B&B Mysteries, and she co-writes that with Patrice Wilton, and they co-write under the name of Tracy Wilton. Christy's got them right there if you're watching us on
Yes,
YouTube.
yes.
And the fourth in the series, Mrs. Morris and the Sorceress, just came out in April, and her fifth book comes out in September.
Yes, Mrs. Morris and the Vampire. I have an advanced copy. I'm very lucky.
You're very much on the
Very
end.
lucky. And
You
and I
sound
and
for it.
I happen to know that they've already finished the 6th.
Oh my gosh.
I know. They're very prolific, these people, as I have already said. And so that's plenty of reading, I think, for the
Yeah.
whole summer, just with that. And also she has romances. So if any of you are in for a little summer romance, she has a lot of romance that she's written. Lots of fun too.
All right, now enjoy this redux of our Corks and Conversation with Tracy Hall.
We're so happy you're here with us today. This is going to be so much fun.
I am so glad to be here. So glad to be here. It's nice to get away from the computer, actually.
People, right?
Yes.
And have wine.
And the wine.
You lured me.
We did. We said, come, we have wine.
Right.
Okay, on that, so before we get into the conversation, Christy, tell us what we're drinking today.
Okay, so we are drinking Sea Glass Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, and the reason why I picked this wine is because I asked Tracy and she said she likes white wine. And then I was like, Sea Glass.
Perfect.
And she has her
By
the Sea series. So here we are drinking this. And so you guys have a sip and I'll tell you what the tasting notes are. And you
Okay.
can tell me if you think it's like that. It says a classic Santa Barbara County Sauvignon Blanc with exhilarating aromas of lemon, lime, grapefruit, and fresh cut grass.
I'm totally exhilarated.
Clean and crisp on the palate with gooseberry, tangerine, and a touch of minerality. Don't miss the zingy acidity and the light tart finish. The wine.
Did you say we're supposed to be tasting grass?
Yeah, right?
It said fresh cut grass.
I gotta try this.
I'll drink it again and see.
It is a very fresh. I have had this bottle of wine before. Did you
I
have it in
do.
South Dakota?
Yeah.
That's kind of our rule, Tracy, is that we try to find a bottle of wine that we can find in South Florida and South Dakota. I have enjoyed
Has to
this.
be under $20.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is delicious, though, I think. I think it's
Yeah.
really fresh.
Yeah. Oh, good. So now we have the wine. So let's start picking her brain.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. First of all, as we heard in the beginning, you're extremely prolific with your writing. So what we want to know is, how do you get it all done? I mean, do you have a daily schedule or how do you do it?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me tell you. Actually, it requires there's a lot of days that are 12 plus hour days to be able to get everything done because in addition to doing my own writing, I edit as well. So I feel incredibly grateful to be able to make a living in the writing world. It's not always champagne and caviar.
Oh, yeah, that's what we're hearing.
Or Sauvignon
Yeah.
Blanc,
Yeah.
as it were.
Or Sauvignon Blanc. even with the grass note. Still not it every day, but I do lists a lot and I go through calendars, like the desk calendars, but they're they're flat, so they've got the bigger squares.
Mm-hmm.
And
Like the big
yeah.
desk. Yeah.
I've got 3 of them, and they kind of rotate for when.
Wow.
Yeah, because sometimes my squares get filled.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, we're glad you came here
Yeah.
today. And so when how long do you, like you said 12 hours? I mean, do you write for 45 minutes, get up, do an exercise and sit back down, or do you just write until you need to like roll on the floor or what?
That was the deal that Christopher made with me this year, was that there would be no falling on the floor after 12 hours of work.
That was a resolution maybe or something?
He was like, we can't do that this year. So we're trying for balance. We really are trying for balance. We've been walking a couple of times a week. But it's hard because if you're away from the computer, that means that you're not getting something done.
Right.
In the last, it's like 2 years or a year and a half even, I had 8 books contracted.
Wow.
In addition to having to keep my,
Sanity?
indie stuff.
And you're helping other writers.
And the editing. Yeah, in addition to the editing. And I don't want to let my clients down.
Right.
So I'm very goal oriented.
Yeah.
And so having the projects and having the lists, and being able to cross things off every day really does help. I know how many pages I can write in a 5-hour spree. I know if it's plotted ahead of time, in between 5 and 6 hours, I can get 20 pages done. I know if I just only have 3 hours, I know I can probably get 10.
Wow.
So I know how much.
So when you have an 8-book series, when you have an 8-book contract, all these different contracts, you take your calendars and you literally say, okay, I have to do this much today and next week. And you're very organized.
Very much so.
Now, do you mix the one book on one day, another book on another day? Or do you just say, okay, I got to get it all done and then go to the next one?
It depends on my deadline.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then because you also end up, when you're turning things in from a publisher, you've got your writing deadline, but then they send you back edits, and it's like,
we didn't think about that.
Yeah, so then you have to fit that into the mix, and you don't get to say no. You have to be able to say, where do I find the time?
Oh, wow.
Right, so
yeah.
You end up working on so many different stories, and then because I'm editing for other people, I'm constantly around different stories. So yeah, my brain, I'm a Gemini, so I think that helps kind of.
Okay, so are you an early morning person or late evening person, or neither, or both?
If I had my pick, I like the early morning better, but we end up, definitely.
You have like events or something, and then you can't do the early morning as easily or something. No,
you still have to do it. You still have to do it. But Chris and I, the benefit of being able to work out of the house is that we are able to just get up. I don't have to deal with the commute. I don't have to do anything really. I don't even have to brush my teeth because my dog doesn't care. I can just be right there and grab some coffee.
He's called in and he does care. No, I'm just joking.
Well, also you're co-writing, you said, a series. Now, how does that work? That sounds fascinating, but it's like, how do you do it?
Patrice Wilton and I are writing the
Mrs.
Morris
Morris.
and the Ghost.
I love
Mrs. Morris and the Ghost. They changed the title on us, the
That's
series
funny.
title. So, and so yeah, that has been, Patrice and I have been critique partners from 2003.
Oh, wow.
And so,
so you know each other's ins and out quite well then, I take it.
Exactly. And so you trust people. And so I also was her freelance editor. And so it kind of was a cool thing. And we wrote a romance, actually, was the one that we did first to see if we could do it. And we knocked that book out. It was over 80,000 words. And we had it ready to go in 3 months. And so in addition to our independent writing projects. So we were like, okay, we can do this. And we brought that to our agent, Evan, who is amazing. Mm-hmm. And he, we ended up deciding to indie publish it because we thought that we could do better with it. Soccer, turns out, Americans really don't like soccer. They like American women like football. That's the sport they follow. But anyways, I digress. So we ended up getting the opportunity to write this mystery series together.
Well, what do? Do you do a chapter, she does a chapter? You do a page, she does a page?
Oh, God, no.
One person gives one idea?
You're like, oh, goodness, no.
I know, it's like so
how does it? Yeah.
Okay, so we started writing this book, the third book, We started writing on January 7th, and we just finished the first draft a couple days ago.
Wow.
80,000 words. And
over just a month?
That's crazy.
And that's also us editing and doing our own thing, because she's also got other writing projects.
Wow.
So now we're going to take the time, and we'll spend the next couple of weeks going over the second draft, making sure that we've got everything that we want in, and that the words are the right words, that kind of thing. I'm a plotter. She's a pantser, and so I'm the one that kind of does the plot and breaks that down for us, and then we're able to just go through. She's the one that's got the humor, and she actually is more romancy than I am, even so. And then we end up turning it into Chris at Community Authors, and he does an edit, and then we go back through it, and then we send it to our editor.
Cool. That sounds like
That's
fun.
really interesting. I would have thought that if you were going to be a writing partner with somebody, you both need to be pantsers or both need to be plotters. So I love that you can work with somebody who's an opposite.
It works out
It
really
actually
well.
seems like good. That's
Yeah, it
now that
sounds
you
really
mention
well.
it kind of fits together. Like, yeah.
She's good. She tells me if I get too bossy. So
Very nice.
yeah.
Great. Well, let's have another sip
Let's
of
give
wine.
you give you a second here. This is so fun. I love hearing about this. Okay. So my question is, what brought you to the point you're at now? Like your road to publication, which obviously it's a winding road, I know, for everybody. But what brought you to the writing world? How did you get an agent? Tell us your road, your path.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to give every detail. just the highlights.
You don't have to do the exhaustive things if you don't want to.
It is a long and winding road. And I saw something on Facebook. I love those little memes that they have. There's like, here's this path that you think is going to start here, and you're going to go right over there, and you end up, there's no straight line. It's this curvy, windy mountain road with definite pitfalls.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And what you think could be a pitfall is actually ends up being like this whole new adventure.
Right.
I had no idea that I would end up writing mysteries. So, I started writing mysteries. My problem is, because I'm a Gemini, I like to write everything. So I have written nonfiction. I've written coming of age. I've written young adult paranormal. I've written zombies and cat shapeshifters. And I've written historical romance in medieval time. And I've written the historical westerns. And the contemporary romance was actually such a break for me, because
Less research.
There's
maybe?
less research. And it's like, oh, okay, I can write this. And this is easy.
Yeah.
And it really, you still have to be able to deliver the emotion to people, which is so important. People love a happy ever after. People want that.
I love that. I love your tagline that you have on your website. I just think that's so great. I just really, that people really do want.
They want it.
They want love, and they want to feel those good things about life, and focus on the good.
Yeah.
I love
we
that.
Need it. Everybody needs that escape. And so I defend genre fiction to the bitter end, because people will talk to me, even at this library event. They're like, oh, well, what do you write? Oh, romance and mystery. Oh, well, it's like, maybe something more literary. It's like,
yeah, that's so, it is.
I agree with you. And I think I read a lot of genre fiction. Yeah. That's my interest. And I appreciate the escape. I love that escape. And I think the chance to do that for somebody else is wonderful. I read Billionaire by the Sea.
You did.
I did. I read it on the plane.
I've read a bunch. I'm just saying.
I've read it on the plane, and I loved those. I loved the opening chapter. I loved the triplets. I loved the Billionaire. I did. And it was an absolute joy. I get a little nervous flying. And I was flying alone, and I thought it was just a great escape. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Yes.
So yeah,
Mindy Stories coming out in March. Yeah. So the third sister, she gets hers. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with her yet.
Yeah, she's a little tricky, I think.
She wanted to go away. She wanted to escape to Hawaii or something, and she's got the
you just
boyfriend.
want to let her to do that.
I don't want her to do that. I have to do something with her. And I have to do it. It's supposed to be out in a box set March 15th, so I have to hurry
quickly.
I would say so.
So when did you start writing? Have you always been a writer?
Yes. My mom has something when I was like 5 years old. I had my pet ant named Blip. And she saved it for me. So I actually have this. It's in a...
You have the ant?
I have the ant. It looks like a baked potato. But that story had a beginning and it had a middle and it had an end. And
There you go.
I know. So
Great job.
And
So it's in our blood.
You grew up wanting to write.
I grew up reading.
Yeah.
I grew up reading.
I think reading really is what starts a lot of writers. I think.
Agree. So when did you start writing your first adult? Let's say as an adult, when did you start writing your first work that you kind of got in a final working form?
See, that's so hard because even like through junior high and high school and all of that, I was always writing stories.
Oh, okay, yeah. So she's always
you're a lifelong writer.
I have to do it. It's
Just, and so was Evan Marshall your first agent?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
I'm like that. Okay, so I started my first. This is so terrible. My very first publishing contract was for a young adult series, and it ended up closing the line at this particular publishing house. And so then we sent it to somebody else. It closed the young adult line at the publishing house.
Two times. Oh no!
Oh my gosh, that is hilly. That's what you're saying. So
and so in the meantime, literally, it was like brushing myself off and going, okay, well, if I can't sell this young adult series, and originally it was Rhiannon Goddess in Training. She's so cute.
Oh, that sounds so cute.
And you still are very fond of her, I can tell.
Yeah. Well, she ended up being published with Sam Hain. I ended up getting my rights back because they went under. So she's self-published now, but yeah, I loved that whole series. But the whole point is that I could have said okay when crying in my wine, but what I did was I went to the beach and I was just walking and walking and walking. The beach is like so my happy place. I love the beach, love it. And I ended up finding a sand dollar, a whole sand dollar in Jupiter, and they don't usually have them on those beaches,
Not on the East Coast.
Yeah,
it's on the West Coast.
And so it was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep going, and
it's a sign.
Yeah,
it's a sign.
I took it as a sign and did, and so I ended up selling my first medieval trilogy to that same publishing house. So you just have to try something else. Yeah. It's like, okay, if this isn't going to work, what will work? Because I wasn't going to.
So you just have to keep going.
Yeah.
You're the picture of tenacity, then.
Yeah, I would say.
I mean, that's a real compliment. I mean, I really think it is because I do think, how many times have you heard of writers that face a disappointment or a closed door and don't find the next open window and just get so frustrated. And so I really admire hearing that. And it's a wonderful
and
thing.
It's inspirational for us who are like trying to get published.
Okay. Let's have a drink.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is our new fun segment. This is our carafe question. So these are just some fun questions, easy peasy. If you don't like it, you can pass and make another one. You're supposed to do that. I'm sorry.
I'm supposed to pour it out.
You're supposed to pour it out. Okay.
This is so fun.
Isn't this fun? It's the wine, really, that helps. Okay.
No, it's our personality.
Okay. Oh, this is fun. Where would you like to live someday?
I want actually to get back to the beach because we were by the beach and we had to move. They ended up selling the apartment, whatever. So I actually would love my condo on the beach. That's my.
I was going to say, it's got to be on the water because you're a beach girl.
Yes.
I agree.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
That's what, and your wine glass has like sea glass.
So
this is our version of sea glass. I love it. Christie's version.
I love it.
Oh, gosh. All right. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what you have out now. So I think, because you have so many coming out every 2 months, but I think the last one that came out was In the Doghouse.
Yes, yeah, that book had its birthday on Monday.
Yes.
It's birthday. I
know.
Awesome.
So and so it looks like a really fun book. I haven't read it yet, but I will because I've read a bunch of your By the Sea series.
Well, that's what Christy, when I said, okay, which
I
should I
lived
read?
in the same area where you kind of based it, so I just loved it.
Yeah.
I was like, I think think that's what that she's talking about.
I know, and I said, what should I read? And she said, By the Sea. Pick one of the By the Sea.
I know, yeah. And I mean, anytime I was just like you said, wanted to escape, like I was tired, and I'm like, I'm just going to get one of Traci's books. And
Traci thanks you.
Yes. But is this, in the doghouse, is this a standalone? It's not?
No, it's actually going to be a new series. So,
so
it's the first in a series?
Yeah.
Now? Okay.
So this is like one of the best things that getting an agent can do for you. So originally it would have been just for a single book, and then they kind of would keep you waiting and probably keep you on tenterhooks or whatever.
Right.
But having an agent, he was like, no, she needs at least two to be able to commit to this. And yeah. So
good.
I do recommend having an agent.
Oh yeah.
I didn't always have the best agents, but I think I don't think it was my time yet for it, so I feel okay with it. Like I'm okay with how it's gone.
So the agent you have now,
Yes,
is represents you in all these different genres that you're in?
no, because he only does for the traditional published houses. He is totally good with my indie stuff is my indie stuff, my audio stuff is my audio stuff. He's
so
great.
all that other stuff that, well, you're going to talk about the marketing in a bit, because that seems like that's
that's a whole other subject. Yeah.
So the other thing is, like I just said, I love the By the Sea series, not only because of where it is, but also because I feel like sometimes you put a little mystery in it too, which we like mystery. And I really think mystery and romance are very similar in approach. And I kind of said, well, it's kind of like one is who done it and the other one is who gets it.
Wow.
So what do you think? Is there a similarity in the way you approach it? And
so, okay, what I found out is there's expectations that the reader has. So when we're writing, when I'm doing my mysteries, they want to find out who committed this crime, and so they're going to go along and they're going to hopefully fall in love with the character, and until we find out, hopefully with a twist and surprise, who actually committed this crime.
Yeah.
And in a romance, that these two people, you buy them because that despite all of the hardships and all of the rough stuff that they have to go through, at the end of the day, they're going to end up together. And some of the reviews for In the Doghouse I've gotten, I'm so grateful for, because, they're like, Emma and Jackson, it's a second chance romance. So they fell in love in high school, and he ended up joining the military and didn't, give her even a say in it. And she had ton of her own issues, but she's actually an emotional support dog trainer as well as a psychologist, going for her doctorate. And so, I mean,
they're destined.
Oh my gosh. And so he because they each had grief in common. She had lost her mom to cancer and ended up living with her great aunt. He had lost both his parents, and his expectation was he was like fourth generation military, so he had to go in order to fulfill his dead father's
so there's always
I just loved it. So when people are like, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, it's like, okay, that made me
that's wonderful.
That made me feel like I delivered.
Absolutely.
When I watch you talk about these characters, they're very real.
They are.
They're all in there.
I mean, you really feel deeply for these characters. I can just tell.
Yeah, they do.
This is why your readers love you so much.
Yep.
Oh, well.
All right. So, well, you mentioned it. You have a cozy mystery coming out this summer.
Exciting.
And so, what can you tell us about that? Like, are you excited to be going into a different genre? I know the Gemini thing is coming into play, but are you like, all right, I'm going to embrace this? And
yeah, absolutely. It's one more thing for the wheelhouse, right?
Yeah.
Right.
So I actually had written, and I was represented by a different agent at that time, but she was called Dee Dee Valentine Photo Sleuth, and she was a young adult, middle grade. And I'm going to bring her out. I'm going to actually talk to Evan about it now that I've
Dee Dee Valentine's a great name.
Photo Sleuth, and she had this. I ended up changing it because they wanted her to be instead of young adult, they wanted her middle grade. So I had to take away her pink little Vespa thing, and she now has a pink skateboard. Not quite as cool, but
Pink Vespa.
It was
That
awesome.
was pretty cool.
It was awesome.
Sounds cool.
But anyway, so I'm glad. I'm glad to be able to
Stretch.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I really admire your ability to cross genres so deeply. I mean, because you have such a deep list.
I know.
And across so many genres. I just am really impressed.
Thank you. You have to just invest. So this is going to be the challenge. So my other contract that I have coming up, that I have to have the first book in by, it's June 1st or July 1st. And it's, she's going to be really great. She is 28. Her name is Paisley Shaw. She lives in Nairnshire, Scotland.
Oh, see, now that's fun.
Oh, I'm
Don't
in.
you think
I'm
you
in.
need to, like,
I tell you what,
I'm in.
I tell you what, I got.
You have
So
to.
the editor told me, he's like, okay, this is what I want from this. And I'm like, I am terrible at accents. I'm the person that after a couple glasses of wine thinks that she can, bring out this English accent. It's never a win.
Never good.
Never a win. So I'm not sure how to do it. And luckily I do have some friends that live in Scotland, and they've already agreed to vet for me. So
good.
Yeah.
I was like,
What
you
a
just have
fun-
to go right
I think you need to. I think you need to take a trip. You need to do a research trip.
Yeah, Chris and I have already. Yeah, we're putting it on the list.
Good.
Although your calendar is full, I would imagine.
I know, right?
We have, because in between the cruise that we've got coming up at the end of February, we're going to also be in Greece.
Yeah, that one.
Okay,
Remember,
so
I
tell us
told you
about the
I wanted
cruise.
to do that.
You did. So tell us about this cruise thing.
Okay, so
The cruise or the retreat in Greece?
Either, both, and
both, yeah. Okay, so the cruise is wonderful. It's the Florida Romance Writers. We get to literally keep the editors and agents hostage because they don't want to jump overboard.
Right, yeah.
the alternative is not good.
Yeah,
No.
we have dinner, we have like workshops, panels for all, variety of writer or reader or whatever, Chris and I are doing a workshop called Champagne and Chocolate.
Oh,
The
perfect.
Languages of Love.
Love it.
I would hate to go to that.
Yeah,
That's
right.
horrible.
We were so fun. We were actually talking about different workshop possibilities for the cruise, and people were like, oh, it's so hard to get people to come like later in the afternoon because everybody wants to drink. And I was like, oh, I know what workshop. We'll do this.
Yeah,
We
can
appreciate
come
that.
podcast.
Yeah, we
can
appreciate
do some
that.
longer
Yeah.
podcasts.
Yeah. And then in May 5th through 11th, Aleka at Insiders Tours has, she's doing a writer's retreat, and Chris and I and Peter, I'm gonna butcher his last name, so I'm gonna skip it, but he was an editor at Kensington and is now a freelance editor.
Oh.
And the three of us are going to be writing coaches and kind of you would be able to pick our brain and we can talk writing, talk.
That's a really cool
I
opportunity.
know.
It's going to be really fun. So I know that it's kind of a cozy group, but the people that I know that have already signed up to go, it's going to be really fun. And there will be lots of wine.
Perfect.
We support that entirely.
Yes.
Aleka promised me that there would be a lot of wine. And I've never been to Greece, so I'm excited.
Yeah,
Good
that's
for
gonna
you.
Be great. That's great.
I
Great.
really admire how deep and widely you are spread into this world.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, speaking of
Oh, wait.
wine.
Okay,
Yeah, we need
let's
a
have
drink.
sip.
All right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So last big topic area is marketing. The beast, right? The beast. So, because we all know writing is the core, but the reality is you gotta find your readers. And I know you have very passionate audiences that your readers love you.
Wow.
I looked online. I went to Goodreads.
Aww.
I went to Amazon.
Nice.
Your readers they're ravenous. They want more. They follow you.
Keep on.
So my question to you is, do you have a very strategic approach to marketing? Do you divide so much of your day into doing that? How do you approach it?
My boyfriend is my marketer,
Woo!
and
Yay, we love that idea.
So Christopher I could not do what I do without Christopher, literally, because he edits for me. He does my covers for me. He does my newsletter for me. He does.
Does he have a brother?
He does not.
He does not.
He does not.
Darn it.
So truly, it takes so much. Otherwise, we would not be able to accomplish everything that we do.
Right. Because you can write all day long.
Yeah.
But if you don't find the readers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So having a newsletter is key. It's so huge, and there's different ways to go about doing that. We have a very tried and true way to be able to build newsletter subscribers is to have like a free book. Like I have, if you were to go on my website, you would be able to pick up Sandy Kisses for free, and that would have all of my links for the rest of the By the Sea series.
Mm-hmm.
So you would be able to hopefully get readers to buy more.
Mm-hmm.
That is obviously working very well for you.
Yeah.
I mean, because your readers are, you have found your readers. You found your niche.
But it's always like you always want more. And then honestly, like if you can get the elusive BookBub.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
BookBub is huge.
Yeah.
They really do help. Their readership is amazing. So, yeah.
And so you really spend your days writing and
editing.
And editing. And then he does the business end of your...
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, she'll have to, you have to go to different events, like here.
Right, here you are.
I am so glad to be here.
I know, but this is
We're so
fun.
glad- we're
This
so
is
glad
classy
you're-
note.
We're so glad you didn't send us him.
Right, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so do you guys use social media quite a bit too, or do you really focus on email marketing and your website?
No. The website is also very important. We had, and Twitter, we use Social Oomph, I think is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook. Actually, I'm doing better at Instagram.
Instagram is really
She really
becoming.
likes
I do like
Instagram,
Instagram, and
I haven't really gotten into it.
Yeah.
We have to take a lot of pictures for our blog, so we do that, and so we have a ton of pictures. We should just be putting.
I'm
going
to follow Instagram because I really do enjoy Instagram. I
like it too, and I like the pictures. I like it's just like really quick, and
I like the format.
So I'm learning it. So I'm not as good.
Have you guys got onto Pinterest at all?
I'm not a Pinterest fan. My problem is I only have this amount of time, and it needs to be devoted to whatever that chore is. So I don't have time for me to lose 15 minutes. Like, oh, isn't that pretty? It's not. Right. It's 15 minutes.
Yeah. So you're scheduled down to.
And she's not a shopper like me, and I think that's why I'm not real Pinterest either. I mean, occasionally if I'm looking for a recipe, I'll be like, it's on Pinterest or something. But otherwise, I'm not one that's looking at all the.
Yeah.
Now I will go to Pinterest. I will go to Pinterest for when we had to decorate our imaginary mansion for Charlene. In the
for
book.
research.
Yeah, for research. And so we found our cat there.
What a task!
Yes, there you
What
go.
a task!
We found our Victorian furniture.
Well, that's awesome.
Because when you write with somebody, you have to make sure they see the same thing you do to put on the page.
That's a good point.
See, I actually use Pinterest, not widely, but I do have a page for my work in progress because I'm very visual.
Yeah.
And so I like to see the thing, and it helps me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's what I've been using Pinterest for. But
Good.
so okay, before we end marketing, what advice would you give to writers, new writers, established writers? You have a very impressive career, and you've done a really good job. I mean, you're making a living as a writer, and that's the goal.
Yes, that's like I said, it's not glamorous, but it is. It's so wonderful to be able to do what you love. It's hard work, but I get to show up in my pajamas and I don't have a commute. So I really have no complaints.
Good.
Happy for you.
I want to get
That's
back to the
fantastic.
beach. No.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the only
We
thing.
got to get
Noted.
back to the beach. Yeah.
Yes.
Noted.
Yep.
Okay, well, it's been a delight talking to you.
Yes.
Thank you so much
Absolute
for
delight.
having me.
coming.
I know.
Thank you.
Okay, well, before we go, though, we do have one final question that appeases our
Dun, dun,
mysterious
dun.
foodies out there that listen to our podcast, and we like to ask this of all our authors. Which of your characters would you like to share a meal with, and what would it be?
Oh, I'm a foodie. I love food.
Do you?
Oh God, I love
Perfect.
food.
Yeah.
Can't you tell?
No, I cannot, but we all do.
We all love food.
Love our food. Wow. Okay, let me think about this for a minute.
Okay.
Oh, that's so hard because I know Emma loves her lasagna that she does, and they all have different things that they do. I had Lolita. She was dating a zombie.
Oh, what?
So, a vampire zombie.
Oh.
Zombie.
Well, what can they eat?
So they had blood.
They had to take special medicine to be able to eat. And then I
Oh.
had, let's see. Okay, so for any of the by the sea people, then so this is actually interesting.
Yeah.
So we could go down absolutely to the pier.
Mhm.
And if I had to choose between going to
What about delicacies?
Delicacies, I've eaten there quite a few times.
Yeah.
And they're good. But the Village Grill has an amazing breakfast that's always delicious, and you get a view of the water.
Mm-hmm.
What's Aruba's?
Oh yeah, Aruba's right
is
on the beach.
always so fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Always so fun. I actually had my very first escargot at Aruba's.
Oh, interesting. Well, that sounds good to me.
I know.
But I want to say it was also my last escargot.
Oh,
gonna ask
okay.
That's awesome.
I like it.
That is hilarious.
Oh, good. Well, so anyway, just to recap, your latest release is
In the doghouse.
In the doghouse. I was going to say
And
by
that's
the
actually-
doghouse.
Its birthday was just 2 days ago.
That's right.
Yes, 2 days ago,
Like
and you've got a bunch coming up.
Yeah.
You've got like every 2 months, I think. So really, look on Amazon, see Traci Hall, look on her website, I guess.
Go to her page on Amazon.
Yeah.
It's really
My
interesting.
page.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so if you have any more questions, which I'm sure you will, or you want more information about Traci, they can reach you on your website is the best spot, do you think?
Yeah.
Or...
Yep, they can do Facebook. Facebook is easy. You can find me there. And if you want to email me, you can email me at traciella@aol.com.
Oh, that's very
Great.
nice. And Traci is with an I.
Yes. Oh, yeah, thanks.
That's
Traci with an I.
Traci Hall.
Great.
Yes, awesome.